he has to go on the commissioner's exempt list, in my opinion. He embarrassed the
Well,
league Sunday.
yeah, but the thing is, so Antonio Brown is claiming injury, and he's got, he's been putting text messages and things on tweets and Instagram, and it's enough to corroborate enough of an argument. I don't think they could do it, especially not during this season. So he's going to be able to get away through the Super Bowl. They're not going to be able to put him on commissioner's exempt unless he's in trouble, and that would be like an arrest or an indictment or some big scam scheme that could get him in trouble somewhere. And he hasn't gone quite that far yet. He's just been an ass.
So, according to the Buccaneers, this is the statement that they released today. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have terminated the contract of Antonio Brown effective immediately. While Antonio did receive treatment on his ankle and was listed on the injury report the week leading up to last Sunday's game, he was cleared to play by our medical team prior to the start of the game. And at no point during the game did he indicate to our medical personnel that he could not play. We have attempted multiple times throughout this week to schedule an evaluation by an outside orthopedic specialist, yet Antonio has not complied. Maintaining the health and wellness of our players is the utmost important bullshit of our organization. You know
They
that
have to say
winning
that.
is the most important thing. And you know what?
Yes.
You know what pisses me off most about all this is all his teammates saying like, how bad his mental health is and everything. You know what, dude? If his mental health is that bad, then why the fuck are you not saying something before now and getting him the help that he needs? Instead of waiting for a fucking mental breakdown like this. A complete dude, he just completely went off the rails. And if he's as bad as what Tom Brady says, then fuck you, Tom Brady. You should have done something then. What, Miles? You know I'm right.
At the
Now
end of the
listen,
day,
listen.
okay. You go
I
first.
agree with you. I agree with your sentiment 100%. The one thing that I saw that makes me question this is when was it? Like it was early 2000 teens. He got a serious hit when he was going across the middle. I mean, it knocked him out concussion style for a while, and he was pretty normal up to that point, other than just being a Deion Sanders kind of, I'm a wide receiver, hear me, or not Deion Sanders, but any wide receiver that's
Michael Irvin.
any of them, Randy Moss, any of them, you name any of them that had the Madonna part. And then I saw this hit, and after he got the concussion, I mean, is there an argument for this ECT mental disease? Maybe there is. But if that's the case, the man doesn't need to be on a football field.
I absolutely agree with that.
Okay, if we're having
problems,
problems,
I absolutely agree with that. But that's just the thing.
He doesn't need to be on a football field.
This whole problem
Regardless.
with the CTE thing is that it mimics mental illness to such a degree that people can't tell the difference. And you don't know if it's CTE till after the fact, till after they're fucking dead. Which is why that dude.
No, you're right. You're right. But his behavior.
That's why Junior Seau shot
point.
himself in the stomach. Junior Seau shot himself in the stomach so that scientists could study his brain.
Listen, these guys sign up for it, man. I'm not making any excuses. I'm just saying after I saw that and then the lineage of his behavior, it just kind of made me go, well, I don't know. I mean, what's going on here? The guy's an asshole. Don't get me wrong. I have no empathy for him or sympathy.
Right, and here we are. The Buccaneers knew what they were getting. And when you're winning, everything's going great. Same thing in Pittsburgh. You're winning, everything's going great. To a point, I mean, they're winning now, and then everything wasn't going great. He's a powder keg. It doesn't take much to set the whole thing off. And if you look at all the moving parts, he's got personal drama with not paying people that work for him and throwing the couch out of the apartment, the 10-story apartment in Florida, and almost killing somebody. I mean, he's got all these like really weird things that just kind of follow him in the trail. And then there's the stuff in the locker room. There's the weird shit on the field. And, it just makes this whole picture that by the time, okay, you can give the Raiders a little bit of a pass. They got suckered, and then they had to cut him because it was too big of a deal. Then the Patriots took him. They cut him within a week or two. And then he sits out there, and the only reason people didn't pick him up at that point is because they thought he was about to get suspended. If there was assurances he was not going to get suspended or go on the commissioner's exempt list, he'd have been picked up after the Patriots in the same season because he's got talent, and that gives him a pass over a lot of this other stuff. But at the same time, here you are deep in a playoff run. You're a week from the playoffs starting, and you needed him to come through because all your other receivers are down, including Mike Evans, who's on a pitch count. And you don't have him. He blows the whole thing up. It's no longer about the team. And this is stuff that unravels teams in January.
Oh, thank God they have Tom Brady.
Yes, man. I agree. That's one. I don't get where the sympathies come in because listen, if he wasn't as I don't think he deserves all these second chances. I really don't.
No.
But I'm just saying that there may be a humanistic sympathy there, but not a football career sympathy. The guy doesn't need to be on the football field for any one team. Hands down.
There's absolutely no sympathy from me for him as far as his career goes. No, dude, you fucked up. Sorry.
No.
Get over it. You've had more than second chances. Dude,
Yes.
you fucked up. But like I said, my issue isn't even with so much Antonio Brown as it is his teammates and his friends by coming to his defense saying that he's suffering mentally. I'm sorry, then y'all are pieces of shit for not getting him help sooner than now.
Right. That's
the
my
end of the
point.
day.
If he is
Yeah, no,
suffering
I'm with you,
mentally,
Miles.
He doesn't need to be on the football field. He needs
Absolutely.
to be getting help.
Yes, that's my biggest problem with all this. And we've been talking about it all season, Miles. You've been saying it the whole time. They don't care about the health of these players at all.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Not
They use
even
them up
the
until they
players.
use them up until they can't move anymore, until they're absolutely no good to them. They shove them out the door.
And it's a
And you know
quicker
what?
process each year.
We watch it and we
The-
enjoy it, and we're
Oh,
sitting here
yeah.
talking about it.
The environment has become so
Not-
toxic, and not just football. What you're saying, Adam, almost reminds me of there was this big scandal in hockey over the 2010 Blackhawks with a player named Kyle Beach, who was, well, some things happened to him, and the locker room basically covered it up in the name of winning. They didn't care about the lock. And that's kind of what's happening here. Instead of addressing Antonio Brown's mental health issues, which have been obvious, actually, really since his college days, he punched a college coach in the face. People forget about that.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
I don't know shit about where they dude.
That's why
Until
he
they
was a
get in,
sixth rounder.
Central Michigan.
yeah, until they
Go
get into the
Chippewas
league,
or
dude.
whatever.
I don't know shit about them. Honestly,
But yeah, this dude has always been kind of a head case, and he needs help. He needs he needs help.
Yeah.
He needs.
Well, he wouldn't be
He
the
just
first
needed
person
help.
that punched a kid in high school and went on to the NFL.
No, it wasn't a kid. He punched a coach.
Oh, well, okay. There you go. That's different.
haven't coaches got coaches have also been choked on the sidelines and stuff, and these fuckers still get in.
College football coaches probably deserve it.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
They probably do.
I can definitely tell you high school coaches do.
Yes. Okay. Let's talk about the Titans for a second.
That's a great idea.
The number
Alright.
one seed in the AFC, buddy.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that since
If they win on Sunday against the Houston Texans, which they should, not saying they will, but they should, they will they clinch the number one seed and get the first round bye. And Derrick Henry practiced this week. I don't think he'll play Sunday against the Texans. There's no reason why he should. I mean, maybe there's some people think they're not. All right, so the local sports people here, they're very split on how they feel about Derrick Henry playing this week. Some say that he needs to remove the rust, put him in for a little while, let him get back used to it. Because let's face it, he's definitely a running back that does better when he's given the time to get better in the game. He's not the coming out of the gates. No, he wears you down until you cannot handle him anymore.
Yes.
And I actually missed this past week's game. I was doing something. I can't remember exactly what I was doing. When was it?
The thing about Derrick Henry is, if they activate him, what's really going to tell all this is the fact that if they activate him for the game, he's going to get some work. He probably won't get most of it. Deontay Foreman's proven to be capable, if not good, in some circumstances, and they've got a couple of guys behind him that can move enough and work in the passing game. And Derrick Henry might get a few carries just to kind of get in there, maybe get 1,000 yards for the season because he finished off with like 937. But I mean, I don't think they want to overuse him. Maybe 6 to 10 carries I think would be reasonable if he's active. I don't think he will be active. I think they have a 21-day window once they bring him back off of IR for him to get back in the game. And so by doing this, if they get the bye next week, they've got him some time in practice to kind of work back in, and they can use him, when they come back. Worst case, if they lose to the Texans and they have to play a playoff game next week, which, guys, this is possible because they lost to the Texans this year.
Absolutely.
then they'll have Henry on the conveyor belt for that as well. I think it's kind of smart by Vrabel, but I don't see him playing this week.
Well,
No, I don't either.
Using the handy dandy playoff machine here, the Titans definitely need to bring their A game, because if they don't, that's what happens. And frankly, I think Henry should get 5 to 10 carries just to take contact again. NFL contact is I imagine, a different animal.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. They're not going to be, whooping his ass in practice by any means to even come close to what he was going to experience during the game. However, looking at Derrick Henry and seeing his past, conditioning, no one trains like him. No. I've never seen players do what he does, and I guarantee you he's doing that shit right now, getting ready to play. I really think when he comes back, dude, he's going to be full force. But we'll see.
He will be ready for the playoffs. It's
so
a matter of how many carries he can have.
Right. So right now the Patriots have clinched the first wild card position.
Can I bring back up the playoff machine?
Yeah, I don't care.
Well, I'm just saying because I think that'll give us some.
I mean, I was doing it myself, but you have to step on my fucking toes.
I do. I do.
Dick.
I do.
Way to be aggressive. Yeah, Cyrus is going for 2. He's trying to win.
We go for it on 4th down here. R.I.P. John Madden. But
but I have control, so
you do have control. So So the Patriots have indeed clinched, and the Colts have basically clinched. They could.
No, they have not clinched. Now, but that was my point, even bringing it up. So if the Titans do not win against the Texans, that's who they're going to play, and that's a problem. I would not want to play the Colts right now.
I agree. I think that they're hot, but I'm confused with the AFC, to be honest with you. I mean, you've got the Bills. You've got the Bills that are getting hot all of a sudden again, and now you've got the Cincinnati Bengals that are getting hot. I mean, this is interesting. I believe.
What's really interesting to me is that this whole year everybody's been saying, like, man, the AFC is not very good. Actually,
bullshit.
The AFC is incredibly good, and they're all beating each other, which is why they all have so many losses. That's why the potential number 1 seed has 5 losses. I can't remember a year in my life that's ever happened. But I think it's because you have some of the best teams in the league, if not the best 2 or 3 teams in the league, are in this conference at the same time. And just like you said, man, these teams get hot. They're at the bottom of the playoff rungs that are kind of the win and get in teams this week. I wouldn't want to play any of them. I wouldn't want to play the Raiders, the Chargers. Definitely not the Chiefs or any of those teams, because they could all beat a 7 seed could beat a 2 seed no matter how this shakes out this week.
Yes,
absolutely.
I agree 100%.
So I have.
I'd rather the Colts have to go to Buffalo or Kansas City and play them first.
I want them to lose and miss the playoffs entirely.
Oh, they not only have to lose, some other shit has to happen, doesn't it, Cyrus? I can't see your little fucking thing there, so I don't know.
Is it not working properly?
No, it's working. It's fucking tiny on my screen.
Oh well, let me zoom it.
There you go. That's good.
Okay, but so the Colts could be eliminated as long as they lose and Pittsburgh or Baltimore wins.
Which I don't know about that because Lamar Jackson's out too, isn't he?
Yeah. So Pittsburgh.
And even if he wasn't out, would they play him? Do they still have a chance?
No, Baltimore's out.
Okay, so there's no reason to play him even if he is healthy.
Actually, Baltimore is not out if the Raiders win, but they'd have to. The Ravens need so much to happen.
Yeah, they're done. It's almost a lottery for them.
They would need Jacksonville and Vegas to win, which are both those are highly unlikely in my view.
Oh, the Ravens. I thought you said the Raiders.
No, the Raiders are a win-in scenario.
Okay.
This game, so there is a really dumb scenario in which if the following results happen and this game is a tie, both these teams get in. So people are making memes on the internet essentially because that's going to be the Sunday night game is the Chargers Raiders.
Mm.
that both teams should just kneel if the Ravens and Jags both win.
I like
Which
this. What we've got going on here.
Yeah,
All these
this
graphics.
is cool.
Sorry.
No, I just appreciate the actual being able to see what could happen.
I do too.
I've never seen this
If
before.
that's you running this, then good job.
I'm not running this. This is Cyrus's.
Oh,
I've
good
loved
job.
it. I've been using the playoff machine since high school. This thing is awesome.
Wonderful.
Is this like an app or is it a website?
Carry on.
It's on ESPN.com.
Huh.
It better not be a plus. I've got enough fucking pluses. I got pluses. I
There
got
is no
I'm all
pluses.
done.
I understand completely. Yeah, no more
Yeah.
pluses. But so the most likely scenario in the AFC is the following, and then those two games. Now, if the Jets beat the Bills somehow, and then the Bills are in the wild card, and then the Patriots will win their division. If now this result doesn't really matter, in just barring seeding, I guess, but it would be best for New England to beat Miami, and then
Yes.
only 3 teams can get the 1 seed in. 4 teams can get the 1 seed in the AFC still. Kansas City, with the Titans' loss, and their win, would be the 1 seed. Cincinnati would be the 1 seed if this happens. If the Bills lose, then New England's basically a lottery. Now, Buffalo cannot be the 1 seed because they lost to the Titans.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
New
this
England,
would
man,
be
they're
Cincinnati.
sneaky.
They are sneaky.
They are.
They're going to be a tough out.
Yeah. I do not want to see the Bucks and the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I do not want to see that.
No, I don't either. But I tell you what,
I might quit watching.
I know. I tell you that New England plays Cincinnati at any point, they'll beat Cincinnati. I guarantee you that much. Is that a
Right.
scenario? Bill Belichick doesn't let.
I mean, not in the first round. It's not a scenario. It doesn't look like.
No, it does not look like that.
But dude, I don't know. Cincinnati, they're a tricky team, man.
Who's that?
I mean, the Cincinnati, the Bengals, they're a tricky team to understand. Them and the Chargers. The Chargers, I don't know what to think about them. I'm really confused with the Chargers.
The Chargers are the kind of team where they kind of remind me of the 2016 or 2017 Titans, where they're the kind of team that will totally just get wrecked by the bottom tier of the league. They held a mediocre record, and all their wins are against playoff contenders.
I will go so far as to say that all of these teams are not understandable in my realm, other than the Colts and New England, because the Colts just pound the ball, they just run it.
No,
And
they
New England
don't.
is New England.
But they don't,
do.
though. They do
That's
not.
the only reason they're doing it. Jonathan Taylor is one of my running backs. Trust me, they
I'm
run the
aware
ball.
of that. However, that is not Frank, whatever his name is. That's not what he does. Dude, they do not
It's a
run
weird
Jonathan Taylor
offense.
enough. The only reason they've lost as much as they have lost is because they
Okay.
don't run it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It reminds me of the what the Eagles were doing early in the season, where they were really good at running the ball, but they were only letting their running backs get 25, 20 carries a game, and it's like, what are you doing?
Matt LaFleur does the same thing. He did the same thing last year. You got a great running back, situation going on. He does not utilize it. I don't understand
I need to
that.
hear everybody here's opinion about Green Bay. Somebody. Mike,
What do you
start.
mean?
I need to know what thoughts on Green Bay from the 4 dudes.
Green Bay is a sneaky good team. They've been able to match up against everybody they've played better than a lot of teams that are in the upper echelon in the NFL right now. They've only lost 3 games again this year somehow. Last year before, they were good both years, and they kind of just got past people. You hear about Aaron Rodgers, they beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and then most of the games are not super close, but they're not blowouts. I think they just kind of work in this gray area, but they've got all the tools. Devontae Adams is playing as well as he ever has. So is Rodgers, who's going to be the MVP. And their defense, the last couple Packers games I've watched, they've had the front 4 be able to rush the passer pretty well without any help. And I mean, these are guys like Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith. I mean, a lot of guys that no one's really heard of before this year, but they're putting in like 5-10 sack seasons, and that's where you win. Rasul Douglas is probably the best free agent pickup this year. I think anybody would agree with that. I mean, their defense is playing just as well as their offense, and they're going into the right time. So I think that they could beat anybody in the playoffs any week.
It's eerily like last year. Eerily.
Yeah, and they have home field advantage, so that plays to them. I think they lost in Tampa last year.
What's
Well,
the running back
helps,
situation? Are they healthy?
It's the combo now,
I mean,
which is good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Not for
It's
fantasy.
timeshare.
Kind of just feel like the same Packers from the last 5 years.
Yes, they
They're
do. Thank
literally
you.
the same team. Like
Yeah,
down to the
yeah.
defense is the pass rush is good, but they have a hard time stopping the run, and the secondary is very iffy.
They're actually aren't they a top 5 defense though?
Well, yeah, because their pass rush
They're
is
decent.
insane. Their pass
But can
rush
they
is
beat-
genuinely a top 3 unit in the league.
What were you fixing to say, Miles?
I mean, in the NFC, are they going to be the top dog though? I mean, can
They are the top dog.
They're better than Dallas. They're better than
Do you
Arizona.
think they're going to end up at the end of this? Is what I'm saying. Are they going to win the
I
NFC
don't-
championship?
If it comes
Is it
down
Green
to
Bay?
Brady and Rodgers again,
That's where I'm getting at.
I'm kind of curious. It would be interesting. It's hard to predict who would win that round 2 in a championship game.
Oh,
because
I'm going. If that happens, Green Bay all the way.
Yeah, I'm taking
What if it's
Rodgers.
the Rams?
Yeah, I'm. What about the Rams? No, I do not know.
I think the Rams. I don't think they're cooked. Their defense is too good, and the offense on paper is too good. Stafford is
No, it's good. It just is
showing
it just has
signs of
Yes,
of
it's
why
good.
he was the. It's like, oh, all that stuff they were saying about him in Detroit turns out to be kind of accurate.
Yeah, he has bad games, and when he has bad games, I mean, he just goes. He's such a streaky player, and that's why you have 2 of the all-time receiving seasons by a wide receiver. He was the quarterback throwing him the ball. I mean, he gets locked onto guys, and he just goes for it. He's got Odell Beckham, and he's playing well. I think the Rams could potentially. I would take the Rams or Dallas of the 2 teams besides Green Bay in the playoffs could potentially beat Green Bay. I'm not going to bet on them, but I would say those are the 2 teams that if they get stuck playing Green Bay is going to have a little bit of a problem with them.
Dallas and Green Bay
Hey.
will be close, but it'll be literally almost down. It'll be the exact same game it was 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think Dallas
Well,
is kind
the
of due
thing
against them.
I don't know, man. I lost my train of thought there about Green Bay. I had something I was going to say. Carry
My
on.
bad.
The problem,
Sorry.
in my opinion, the problem in Green Bay is simply coaching. That's it.
Oh,
That's why
I
they
remember
didn't
what it
win
was.
it last year. What's that?
The Rams. I don't
What
think
about the
that I wanted just to say that their defense alone is enough, and I don't believe that they've been shut out once this year, and Tampa Bay has.
Yeah. I don't
That's
think
true.
their defense is enough though.
It's enough
Their
to
defense.
get at Tom
is
Brady.
streaky.
The pass rush to get at Tom Brady is enough. To get at
Well-
Tom Brady, all he needs is a few hits, and he's out of it.
You're right.
I think Aaron Donald and freaking what's his Elvis Dumerville, whatever his name is on the other side, he can do
Von
it too.
Miller.
Yes.
Von Miller, yeah.
Who's Elvis Dumerville? He used to be
I don't
somebody.
know.
He's
Is it?
played for the Broncos. He
Thank
played
you.
for a few teams. He was like a pure pass rusher.
Uh,
All right. I knew I
so
wasn't
what about the
crazy,
Eagles?
but yeah,
Aren't
it's the
they
other
in
one.
it?
The Eagles are the first NFC wildcard team to clinch this year. They
How about
have
that
had. I'm not going to lie. Somewhat paying attention to the Eagles this year, it's miraculous how
Yes.
they've made the playoffs. They looked. I would make an argument that team was the worst team in football in Week 4.
Oh, they were
Like,
dead.
They looked bad. Coaching staff fired, Howie Roseman fired. It looked that bad, and now
I agree.
not only are they guaranteed a playoff spot, they have 3 first-round picks going into the draft.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They're-
I'm not a buyer in the Eagles yet. I think the Eagles can make some noise, but I'm
Oh,
telling you,
they're
man,
not
that
going to
the
make
change
any noise this
happened.
year.
Yeah, the change happened when they decided to run the ball and give Jalen Hurts something besides him, having to do something on every play. And in the first 4 or 5 games, like, they ran a ridiculously low number of times. And I thought that head coach was going to get fired his first season. They turned it around. They took pressure off of Hurts. Hurts is still, in my mind, a limited quarterback. He's got his fan base now. But I've watched him play and put them in some bad positions. I don't think he's necessarily somebody you're going to be able to build around long term. But, he's kind of on that ascension where I really need to see another season to know whether or not, like, is he going to stay this good consistently, or is he kind of a system player, and as soon as something goes wrong or some personnel changes, he's going to fall apart. Next year with the first-round picks, I think could really make them either go up or down pretty hard. But this year they're going to be a tough out for somebody the first week.
See, the thing is, the Eagles aren't sold on Jalen Hurts. I really think they're going to use one of them draft picks for a quarterback next year.
Be interesting.
I don't know about next year. They
got 3. Would you say 3 first-round picks?
Yes, but
yeah, they're going to.
Next year's not a quarterback round.
Dude, there's
every
no
year,
one.
Every year you can get a quarterback out of there.
Oh, that's not
Dude,
true.
it's bad.
Yeah, dude, don't you remember Ryan Leaf? Come on now.
We'll go to Sports
There's
Center
a
on
kid
y'all
at
with the book show.
Pittsburgh, Pickett, right?
Oh, we got Schefter down there.
Yes, sources.
Yeah, he's got to have surgery. He tore his meniscus dancing on the Football Tonight show or whatever the fuck it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I figured Green Bay was going to be mixed with all you guys when it comes back to that because.
No, I mean, I don't see how you can't favor them. I mean, all they've done is proven that they're good. Like you said, they've only lost to 3 teams.
That shit last year, man, just sits with me wrong. It's so
weird.
Absolutely. Can LaFleur overcome that this year?
Well, okay, so the 7 teams that are likely to be your NFC playoff teams, give or take a little, is Green Bay, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Arizona, the Rams, Buccaneers, and Cowboys. Out of those 7 teams, if I had a 3rd and 8 with the game on the line, I know Green Bay, Dallas, and the Rams, and probably the Buccaneers can pick it up. And I think Green Bay could probably get it every time. They're one of the best 3rd down teams I've seen this year, bar none, because they can switch formations. They can have 2 running backs, no running backs. They've got enough tools to spread out defenses and play against their weaknesses. And, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers again. I hate him, but he's Aaron Rodgers.
No, I agree. He may be a jerk, as far as that Chicago reporter reported the guy that's got an MVP vote. It said that he won't vote for Aaron Rodgers because he's a jerk. He had to come out and apologize.
He should have his vote taken away.
Dude, exactly.
Anyone who lets personal opinion cloud their sports vote.
Yep.
Grief.
I can't
we all
stand
know
Aaron
that's
Rodgers
what it is personal opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't
He's
fool
dude, Chicago. Come on now.
Yeah.
Of course.
Right.
But I'm going to get some more.
Other people would be getting these awards.
It's so the NFC, there's only really one other team that can make the playoffs, and it's New Orleans.
Say it. Oh no! I thought you were going to say Arizona.
Arizona. But I meant the Super Bowl. No, I didn't mean the Super Bowl. Arizona definitely has a shot at the Super Bowl, but they have to clean some things up.
I don't think they have a shot at all.
Do you not? You think that they are the bottom of the barrel as far as the NFC?
They're all on the way down.
A shot, as far as a shot.
They're going to lose the first game. Yep.
They do need to clean up some narrative stuff there. Cliff Kingsbury is living up to every narrative about him. I do worry about that.
Yes. And, the thing about his game management that everybody is, kind of throwing around about how he calls timeouts at weird times and doesn't. Like, that happens now every game. He's kind of got that old Andy Reid syndrome, and that was his Achilles heel in December and January. But even bigger than that, the book's out on Kyler Murray. They've now realized they can get pressure on him, and once they do, he makes bad throws or just completely wings the ball into oblivion. So that's happened the last 2 games, and they've been playing from behind a lot. They're not the team they were the first half of the season.
Good point.
Bro needs to realize he's not in a Stillwater no more. This isn't the Big Ten. This isn't the Big 12. Texas is not walking through that door. But
love it.
Man, I can't. So New Orleans still has a chance at a wild card berth. I don't think they will get it, but that is the only team left alive in the NFC.
Yeah.
Where's Jameis?
Who?
Jameis. Where is he?
He's nursing
Winston.
a broken knee.
Yeah, James.
Okay,
James
I
Winston's
can't
hurt,
remember if he'd come
which
back or
is-
not. I don't.
Highly unfortunate.
Oh, no. I didn't know where you're going with
You know
that.
who I feel
Jameis.
bad for is Baltimore, and I know that's sorry for me to say that because we all hate Baltimore, but
Obviously not,
Lamar
Miles. If
Jackson
you're sitting
didn't-
there saying you fucking
Listen.
feel sorry for them.
dude, Lamar Jackson, if
damn
he
it.
would have gotten hurt a little earlier in the year, Tyler Huntley could have taken their ass to the fucking playoffs, I think. Tyler Huntley looks for real, man. He looks like he's got some of the things that Lamar Jackson does not have, plus the things
Like
that he does have. Yes. I mean,
like he can
he's
throw
not
the
as quick,
football.
but he is just as easy to get away from people than anybody I've seen.
He's a
I'm
head
gonna look
scratcher,
into
man. I
having
mean,
a-
how did he get through the draft and nobody, took a chance on him?
Well, everybody said
Because-
Lamar Jackson was going to be a receiver.
Yeah.
Oh, let's be real.
Mel Kiper.
Okay, I theorize the way Baltimore system is like it's the kind of system where I would love to see like the quarterbacks of the past run it. Like I would love to see RG3 in this system or rookie Marcus Mariota in this system. It's one of those. It's a very interesting thing they're doing in Baltimore with the QB and how he's basically
It's college. No, dude, it's just college play. That's all it is. It's just
Well,
it's basically.
I've
It
never seen
is.
it work
It
like this in the
absolutely
NFL
is,
though.
dude.
Other than that, I guess that
Well,
one
to a
year in
certain degree.
Miami.
Yeah,
The
to
wild-
a certain
that
degree, you're
wild-
right.
that Wildcat
But shouldn't
year.
it be that way in the NFL where you can plug and play? Should it not be that way in the NFL over college where
In
you can
theory.
take in and out? I mean, yes, it should be.
Then college needs to get better.
Oh, don't
NFL
worry
needs
with
to
the
get better.
NIL.
We
it
need
will.
more. We need more Cordarrelle Pattersons in the fucking NFL. Is what we need. Take it back to playing both sides of the ball.
Right?
Oh, my
Well,
goodness.
I think
You only
that,
had 20. You should only have 25 men on your roster. Period.
We're gonna do a
That's it.
arena football rules.
I wouldn't go that far.
I just mean the
Well,
Iron
with
Man
the
rules, not
NIL
the-
stuff, let me just kind of, since you guys brought up college, I think the NIL stuff, you're going to have schools that are going to be able to attract players that otherwise would sit second or third string in Alabama's roster, attract them to other schools to be able to make the NIL money, the licensing money, and, kind of get some game experience that probably wouldn't have before. I mean, there's a lot of players on the Alabama, LSU rosters, those types of teams, where those guys are talented, but they don't get time to develop. And then when they get out there, everybody sees what the athletic freak they are. Their draft stock rises. They go to these teams that are bad, and they don't have enough pre-development, if you will, before they get to the NFL to do anything with it. And, guys like Tyler Huntley that had playing time in college and, had an opportunity to really go and start, have a bit of a jump that they get into these systems, and they're able to start picking things up quickly. It's not all about being an athlete. There's a lot of stuff between the ears that they got to get right, and they don't have an opportunity. But the NIL thing, I think over a period of years, we're going to see these Tyler Huntley type stories popping up more. It won't just be about first-round quarterbacks every year.
To your point, I mean, you've got extreme bipolar examples here. You've got the Trevor Lawrence, and you've got the Mac Jones, and both of them had playing time and well developed in college. And one of them went to a shit show, and the other one went to a place that So yeah, I agree with that.
I wonder about that too.
100%.
Or
I
even
wonder about that
QBs.
too. If quarterbacks are going to start pushing back more.
Yeah, like
you
Eli
wouldn't-
Manning, he was the first.
Yep.
Which Archie helped with that.
I've seen quarterbacks come from shit show schools, basically. I mean, and become really good pros because of the coaching. It all really depends on the situation. I mean, it's interesting to see a QB come from a Mississippi State or even a Vanderbilt in some cases and play well. It's interesting because, you wouldn't, these schools are barely making bowl games with these NFL
It's
rosters.
both sides of the coin, yeah. Both sides of the coin.
Did you know Ole Miss had both A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf at the same time?
Yes.
And they didn't even crack the top 10?
Yeah, they've had so many
Dude,
big receivers from there and Clemson over the last decade or so. I mean, it's like somebody on one of the older Madden games where you could create your own players and you just make like these guys built like a brick shit house that are 7 feet tall, run a 4.240.
Yes.
Like they just all keep popping out of there. And it's like, why? How this school? You know, like where did you find these guys? Calvin
And why
Johnson.
aren't you any good at football when you're like when I watch you on Saturday?
Yes.
They're losing 62-0 to Alabama with these NFL rosters.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
See,
yeah.
to what you were saying a minute ago, Mike, though, what I disagree when you say that, you know, these players are coming out of like Alabama. Any players coming out of the SEC, they are plug and play.
Yeah, for the most part. I'm talking about mostly the quarterback position.
Okay.
Quarterback position is one of those that if you don't have a lot of time under center in a pro style offense, I mean, used to all the rage was, you know, people wanted to take quarterbacks that came from a pro style offense. They didn't want the spread quarterbacks because those guys never did well in the NFL. Well, now the spread quarterbacks, which is like Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield to an extent, like now they're doing, you know, pretty well for themselves. They've built careers and won Super Bowls in the NFL, so you can't say that anymore. So it's more about them getting that development time, getting somebody who works with them, not just like, hey, get in the game, play quarterback. These are the plays we're going to run, but someone who gets in a system where they can be taught how to play the position. And not every school has a coaching staff able to do that. Not every quarterback has access to someone that actually understands the position and not just, you know, not just a team full of other players. You know, there's a big difference in some of these developmental schools. And you know, a lot of the same schools are putting out a lot of the same quarterbacks, a lot of the same receivers. Like, you know, these are big major factors that scouts and things consider before drafts now. You know, they're you know, they know that they can rely on Clemson receivers. Those guys get picked higher. Same thing with, you know, quarterbacks from the SEC and defensive linemen from the SEC. Like they all have pockets where they know they're going to develop before they have to get their hands on them.
Right. No,
Yep.
I see that.
But
I see
unfortunately, the development attitude in the NFL has gone to the wayside, as we all know.
No, they don't spend time on it.
And
You're
it's
never going to see
unfortunate.
another.
But I feel like you either adapt or die, and I think that's where Harbaugh is kind of steering the ship a little bit in Baltimore. I really do. I feel like I don't know. I could be 100% wrong. It's my opinion only, but I feel like you adapt or die. Aaron Rodgers, these 18-year quarterbacks, this is a dying breed. You're not going to see it. It's not going to happen.
No, you're right. Because I mean, all right. So this, we got to admit, it's Roethlisberger's done.
Oh,
Yes.
he's cooked.
He's done. And so then you got Aaron Rodgers, and I mean, how long does Russell Wilson have left? Matthew Stafford, Matt Ryan.
Russell Wilson probably has a whole 5-6 years left in him.
I
Probably
don't-
somewhere else.
I don't think so. After this year, this is the first time he ever suffered an injury, and he has not looked the same since. And this is the first time he's had an injury like this, or an injury period, I should say. And dude, he may not even be in Seattle next year. And
I don't think he will be. I think he's going to be somewhere else. But I think
Really?
a change of scene. Yeah, Seattle's done. Like I think Pete Carroll's going to mutually part ways this offseason. I don't think it's going to be a firing situation or a resignation type deal. It's going to be one of those more. Pete Carroll, isn't there still a job opening at USC or somewhere? Pete Carroll's going to F off somewhere. And
I don't know.
You think it doesn't
Seattle's
matter if there's an opening or not? They would take him back, I'm sure.
Right. No, didn't dude from Oklahoma just go out there?
Oh, yeah, I think he. Well, then Pete Carroll's going to the Norman.
Notre Dame.
Ooh, but they need help. But man, Seattle's starting over, like in every facet next year. Like they realize that era is done.
Well, the era went away when they got rid of the running game.
Yeah, they haven't had a run game
Which was
in 2
6 years ago.
They
Right?
haven't had a defense in
Whenever
3.
Well, I
Marshawn
mean, dude, they
was-
haven't done shit since that since that last playoff visit. They haven't even gotten close since then. They've all well, I'll take it back. They've gotten close. They've started off every season except for this one really good.
Oh,
Their
yeah.
strategy to
I
acquire
thought-
players. Yeah, their strategy to acquire players kind of puts them in a bad spot every couple seasons because both Seattle and the Rams will go all in to get a couple of these big name players. They get rid of all their first round picks like they're on fire, right? I don't think the Rams have picked in the first round in like 10 years. I think Seattle's probably had only
in the first
and they
round
won't pick for
next
at least
three.
another 3 or 4.
Exactly. So they get all these big name guys on there, and they're all in every season. But the problem is you now are depleting your depth. You don't have players to develop in behind where you have kind of a broad roster. You have spots on the offensive line that are bad, not just average, but bad. Spots in the secondary, spots on other places, and those dead spots move around year to year, and it becomes harder to cover when you're not getting in younger players. And the problem is too, if you don't have first round picks, well, now you got to hit the rest of the draft, and it's a crapshoot. I mean, it's always 50-50, but the later rounds, the odds get lower and lower, and you don't wind up with guys who can start, and then you wind up having to start guys who probably shouldn't be starting, and that's what Seattle's problem's been. Their backfield sucks. Their offensive line's up and down. Receivers, I don't buy DK Metcalf, but I mean, like stuff like that has kind of kept them here. And Jamal Adams was one of the worst trades I've seen.
It was pretty bad.
I think DK could have been a much better receiver in Russell's first half of his career because he can throw a ball and he can throw a deep ball, and Metcalf could catch a deep ball. But now it's like both of them have suffered. You know, his career hasn't been as exciting as it could have been. Russell's on the
They don't throw to him at all.
No, and they don't utilize him. When they do utilize him, he gets 3 touchdowns and then 200 yards. And it's like, what is wrong with you people? Why do you?
But I mean, is the defense is just on to him now more than ever? Because I mean, Lockett is not at all, someone that you can depend on. He's a decent receiver. He's a decent number 2, but you can't put all your stock into Lockett. So they're going to double DK Metcalf every time and hope that their other guy can cover Lockett because Lockett is not that dependent.
I don't know. That's a good debate, but you've got people out there that have been doubled and carried on, and he seems like he has the ability to take care of that. I mean, he does not catch the ball with his body ever. It's with his hands every fucking time.
Every time Kansas City has lost, it's been because Travis Kelce has been double teamed like a motherfucker.
Well, this is true.
Let's see.
He does.
Every single time
they have other threats too, though. They have Tyreek Hill.
He's having an off year this year, man.
He is, but they've got other threats nonetheless.
He's the kind of player where it doesn't matter what kind of season he's had, he's going to turn up in the playoffs.
Who, Tyreek Hill?
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah,
he's
but
the fastest football player there.
With DK Metcalf, right? His ceiling was Randy Moss. Now it's more like a Nate Washington almost. He's just not.
Come on now.
No, he's not that
Come on
good.
now.
DK Metcalf has.
That's a little much, dude. That's a little dramatic.
I'm with you, Cyrus. No, I'm with him, man.
He can't really run routes. He can't take over a game like I thought he would. When I saw this kid out of college, I was thinking Randy Moss.
The potential. You look at him; he's a physical freak. He can run. He can run down anybody, run away from anybody, whatever the case may be. And he's a good football player in that regard. But Russell Wilson has never. I mean, he's always done good with these guys like Doug Baldwin. Doug Baldwin knew that when plays got off schedule, he knew how to get open and be there for his quarterback. And that's how he caught a lot of those balls. That's how Doug Baldwin was so good over the years, is because he stayed alive in the play. Metcalf doesn't always do that. He takes some plays off. If you watch a game, you'll see it if you just watch him. Absolutely. And he gets blanketed. And, he gets frustrated when he's not getting the ball. He gets frustrated when he's on a lockdown corner. And, he kind of gives up. But Russell Wilson's the type of quarterback that he's going to keep himself alive long enough that if you give up on him, you're never going to see it. I mean, there's just no way that he's going to be enough of a timing quarterback that somebody who can simply run a post route or a go route or a little 10-yard out is going to get the ball consistently, because he's going to scramble around there and it's going to take 5-6 seconds to get it out.
Yeah.
That ain't DK ever.
If DK could just get open, he'd be awesome.
Does he remind any? Go ahead.
He just doesn't get open. You go, Miles.
Does he remind any of you kind of like a Josh Gordon situation where he's just got all this physical ability and talent in the world, but for Josh Gordon's situation, he just pissed it all away. But for DK Metcalf, it's like maybe his attitude isn't, or whatever it is.
Honestly, the whole DK Metcalf thing. No.
John Ross.
What is this? His second year? Third year?
Third year, I think, or fourth. Third or fourth.
Probably third.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's his third year.
Okay.
All right, so last year he had a phenomenal year. So we're really basing all this pretty much off of just this past season.
And Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson went down after
No,
what
I'm
the
saying
third.
if he was catching balls from someone else.
Yes.
We're not basing. Yes. I know. I agree with you.
It's not only this
Yeah.
season; it's his. It's
But
also
no, but
probably in
Cyrus
comparison
and
with his
Mike are both
peers.
sitting there saying that he's like a Nate. Y'all are expecting him to turn like Nate Washington. What the fuck, man?
Dude, because
There's no way, dude. He's way better than Nate Washington ever was. Y'all are really basing this off of this season. Yeah, he's a diva.
Nate had a couple thousand yards.
Every receiver's a diva. Every fucking receiver's a
Juju
diva, except for
Smith-Schuster.
maybe AJ Brown.
Juju Smith-Schuster was a good wide receiver when he had somebody else take the attention off of him. As soon as he became the number one receiver of the team, you barely heard from him. He went missing for weeks. He was like one of those kids on the back of the milk carton. You couldn't find him. And then he would turn up, but he wouldn't have a great game because he no longer has somebody else on the other side of the field to take the pressure off. There's a lot of receivers like that. Corey Davis is another one. Corey Davis will never be a number one receiver. He wasn't coming out of college. He was overdrafted. And DK Metcalf is one of those type of guys, man. He's going to be a great compliment if they get a blockbuster receiver on the other side. If they really hit the draft and get a guy who can, be a number one receiver, like a Justin Jefferson type. But he's never going to be that guy. He's just not that guy. And if he's going to be made to be that guy, he's always going to be holding back because it's like a Ferrari in the garage that you can never use. He's just always going to look nice in there, but he's never going to be worth a damn.
He needs a Sean McVay in his life.
Yeah.
He wasn't
They would give
even
up
the
if they had
number one
first-round picks. They'd get him.
Yes, and it'd probably be worth it.
You would say he wasn't even the number one guy at Ole Miss. That was Brown.
Dude, I don't give a fuck about college. Stop bringing up college stats.
Well, he's only been
I don't
in the
know
league
shit
3
about
years,
college.
and he's been kind of just meh.
Hey, listen. All right, Scottie Pippen couldn't play basketball until the motherfucker was in college.
Oh, dude.
All right.
That's perfect. That's
And
perfect.
here
That's
we
the
are.
hammer coming down.
Yes. Period.
DK is Scottie Pippen.
Well,
He needs a Jordan real
just
bad.
making my point.
I don't know, man. I think he's better than what y'all are saying.
I agree.
I really
Well, maybe
do.
once he does
Timestamp
get that,
this.
once he gets a wide receiver one better than in beating up Tyler Lockett, maybe he'll prove it. Maybe it is the pieces around him.
No, but it is the pieces around him because, goddamn it, he had a great year last year, and he was.
But he looks like the kind of guy who should be taking over
You're
games.
basing this off of like fucking 14 games that he's a Nate Washington as opposed to a Randy Moss.
His rookie year, he put up 900 yards. This year, he also put up 900 yards. This seems to be
No.
he's a
He
900
had a
yard guy.
shit quarterback
He's the
throwing
next
to
Terrell
him, and then he
Owens.
got Russell Wilson back who couldn't even grip the ball.
He's the next Terrell Owens.
Oh
Oh
God!
man! Oh
Mark my
man!
words.
Oh,
you may
man.
hate him. You may
Okay.
hate him. You may hate
Okay.
him, but come on.
I don't think
Maybe
he
like,
did that.
maybe like the
I'd say,
Cincinnati
like-
Bengals Terrell Owens.
I was definitely in jest about the whole Nate Washington thing, but T.O. is a bit
That hit
much
a nerve,
too.
man. That really bothered
Nate
me. 'cause
Washington's
he
not
was-
bad. He
He
was
was
a good
literally
receiver.
he's literally like a
Dude,
two-time
he's
Pro
a
Bowler.
third receiver at best.
Nate
he was-
Nate
he wasn't even
Washington
the
was
number
our
one
top
de-
receiver for like 6 years.
What's that again?
Washington was
The
like our
Titans?
number one receiver for 6 years. Yeah. And
Yeah,
he, was,
he-
and
he
he
won
had
the
the
Super Bowl
Titans, which he
Right.
was the number one receiver, which would have been a third tier receiver just about
Exactly.
anywhere else at the same
Name
time.
the most
Yeah,
exciting
stats,
Titans
you know,
receiver in
fucked
the past 15 years. Huh? Name the
It-
most
it-
exciting receiver from the Titans in the past 15
Not
years.
counting the modern era, it probably is. Once
Julio
again,
Jones.
No, not counting
AJ
the
Brown.
modern roster
It'd definitely be AJ Brown.
because it is AJ Brown, but like not counting AJ and Julio, it probably is. Of the last 15 years, it probably
Nothing.
is Nate Washington, guys.
Drew Bennett.
Right.
If that's not 15, I don't think that's 15 years anymore.
No, it's
God damn.
it's older than that.
Unfortunately,
We want to get Frank Wycheck in the conversation here.
No, Drew
Derek
Bennett was at the
Mason.
Frank Wycheck.
I mean, the best Titans wide receiver of all time, not counting Oilers, of course, and even they didn't have a great wide receiver history in Houston. Was
Randy Moss.
Okay, Derek Mason.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Good.
Randy Moss should be the best receiver in franchise history, but some moron drafted Kevin Dyson over him.
Hey, Kevin Dyson gave us the Music City Miracle. So,
And if he would have drafted Randy Moss, that game wouldn't have even been that close.
So Nate Washington
Ooh.
only had one 1,000-yard season, but he had a lot of seasons between 700 and 900 yards, and he averaged about 6 touchdowns a year, which in these seasons, those are not terrible stats. But again, B player.
all right. So look up DK Metcalf's. All right, tell me what DK Metcalf's stats are.
Stats are right here. His
Yeah.
first season, 900 yards receiving. He had 58 receptions, 900 yards. His last year, his best
how
season,
many touchdowns for that season?
7.
All right, next season.
This was his best year at 83 receptions, 1,300 yards.
Right.
It's a
And
good
when
year.
was that?
10 touchdowns. This is last year.
Okay. All right.
And then this year, he had 70 receptions for 900 yards, and he actually upped his touchdown total to 12.
And this is an era when receivers catch more balls and get more yards. So I think if you account for inflation, this is Nate Washington's stats all day.
What the fuck?
Okay. Well, let me ask you.
I didn't
It's like
say
you compare
Tyrone
Terry
Parker,
Bradshaw
right?
and Tom Brady. It's the same thing.
Man, y'all act like I
I've got
said
an
Kenny
argument.
Britt.
I think I've got an argument that's going to slam the hammer here. Why don't you tell me about Derrick Henry's first 2 years with the Titans?
There you go. There's an argument. That's a legitimately decent argument. There you go. Of course, Tyler Lockett is really good as a wide receiver 1, as DeMarco Murray was a good running back 2 for the Titans during those 2 years. So
No, he wasn't that good.
he led the
first
AFC
year,
in rushing.
First year
What's
he
that?
did well. I don't think it was the second year though, right? Or is it the opposite?
Second year he got hurt,
Okay.
and then he
Did you
retired.
say he was the number 1 rusher?
Yeah.
In the
He did
AFC
good.
that year, Derrick Henry's rookie year, DeMarco Murray led the AFC in rushing. The leading rusher was Ezekiel Elliott that year.
Yeah.
But Derrick Henry was a ghost.
Yeah, no,
He
that
didn't
was
even-
that
he
was a
didn't even
coaching
play-
thing right there. They would not
Yeah.
play him for some reason.
Yeah, Mike Mularkey and Terry Robisky did that.
Yeah.
All right.
That was terrible.
Terry
Well, enough about
Robisky
DK
should have been
fucking
fired
Metcalf.
into the sun.
Yeah, no shit. done with that shit. Damn it.
We won that
All
one.
right. What's that?
So we won that round. That was awesome.
Yeah, you tell yourself whatever you gotta tell yourself there, buddy. Yeah.
So
Well,
one
this
last-
weekend's not crazy exciting, is it? I mean,
No.
Well, I mean, for the playoff outcome, it is.
But is
Even
it?
then, if you're a Raiders and Chargers fan, absolutely. If not,
I mean, it's. I don't know if exciting is or I'm excited. No, fuck you, Miles. That's the right word. Excited is the right word for me.
there's
These
a,
games are on Saturday.
there's
Am I
one
wrong?
winning in game.
Yes, there are games on Saturday.
There are games on Saturday. Yes.
I think those
And
have the
Monday,
biggest
isn't there?
implications.
Is there a Monday night game?
Is there a Monday night game this week? I didn't
No,
think there
there
was
is a
gonna be
Monday
one.
night wild card game this year.
Oh, that's
Yeah, but there's no
because
Monday
it's
night
17th.
Week 18 game. Yeah, the
Okay.
two
Right.
games on Saturday have seeding implications. So Kansas City needs to win that one to stay alive for the 1 seed. And then you have Dallas and Philadelphia, which I guess that factors into how high Philadelphia would be seeded. They're both already in. But
It
That one
actually,
would be worth watching, though. I think the Dallas Philadelphia. That might be
the
worth
way
watching.
everything's supposed to shake out, even if the Eagles or Cowboys win, like no matter where the Eagles seed, they're like 80% likely to play the Buccaneers.
Hmm.
And Dallas
Done.
really can't.
I don't
move
see the
very far
Buccaneers
either.
going far.
Dude, they've been
They're gonna be
blown
Philly.
out this year.
They-
They had a 0 on their scoreboard at one point this year.
That was
They
one
will
game,
play
dude. I
close.
saw them get. All right, they didn't get blown out last year, but I saw them get their ass handed to them twice last year.
Hey, Tom Brady has off games. Yes, I will not deny that. But to not even kick a field goal, I'm sorry.
COVID would
That's-
Mike Evans' ass, and I think they're down too many receivers. They're not going to have enough people to pick up because you're not getting Godwin back, and Evans is on a pitch count.
What's up with the?
Fournette's out.
That's what I was
I've
just
always
fixing to say.
agreed with that. But if he has a slot receiver, that's all he needs.
Yeah,
He's
who's
And
gonna
always
be-
worked
isn't
with
Gronk out as well?
He's got Gronk.
I thought he was
so
out.
if he's got Gronk, then
No,
it
if
doesn't
Gronk
really matter who
plays,
the
it's
rest
fine.
is.
If Gronk doesn't play, Very bad.
He's never had a good receiver set other than a slot guy,
No, you're absolutely right. I absolutely agree with that.
except for Randy Moss. We can all come together with that.
Yes.
But I mean, I think that as long as he has Gronkowski, he's got a fighting fucking chance.
This dude made Wes Welker a legitimate household name for a few years. He'll be okay.
And then
Dude,
what did
Wes
Wes
Welker won
Welker
me
do after that?
I mean,
Went to Denver.
who?
Yeah, and what did he do there?
Didn't he have
One
to
with Peyton. One with Peyton.
He did fine because this dude literally rode the coattails of two of the greatest QBs of all. Man, Wes Welker had it made.
I like him.
Russ Welker actually was a little unlucky, man. He played with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning at two parts of their careers where they won 0 Super Bowls. He won 0 Super Bowls.
Nice.
Wes Welker did?
He won me
Really?
Super Bowls in fantasy.
Congrats.
So Miles was wrong. Miles said he went to
I
Denver
thought he
and
did
won.
win a Super Bowl. I thought he
I
won.
didn't-
He was
thought he had a
so
ring
they,
too,
they
to
won
be
in
honest.
15. He had already moved on by then.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
So
well,
he was
no,
only there for 1
he
year.
was
when
only
I
in New
moved
England
there.
until 2012, and then wow, yeah, and then he
Yeah,
went
he
to
was
St.
in the
Louis.
he was in the big offense years, which was 12 and 13. 13 they set all the records, and he was part of that. And they got blown up by the Seahawks. But yeah, he lost that Super Bowl there. And then in 11, when they played against the Giants the second time, he had that one pass that came across, and it bounced off his hands. Would have been a tough catch, but if he catches that one, he would have won a ring. And man, that's got to be hard to swallow for the rest of your life. He is.
Yeah.
I think he's coaching for the 49ers right now. By the way, I've seen
Yeah,
him on TV a couple of times.
Yes.
He's.
Yep,
I
he's
mean,
on
with
sideline.
his stats though. I mean, he's up there. I mean, I put him. I don't know statistically, but Julian Edelman, is he the? I mean, he's got to be above him, or did Edelman break him?
He's got
Or
better stats than
did he-
Edelman. Everybody's trying to put Edelman in the Hall of Fame after that Rams Super Bowl.
Oh my
No,
god,
no.
Right.
Hall of Fame? Oh my
Not for me.
No,
I wouldn't vote for him because he's a bad guy. Put him.
Julian Edelman's not even in the Hall of very good. He's in the Hall of. He had a few good years.
Yeah, I mean, he was
And
a
that's
good.
being generous.
Yeah, he was good, but I mean, Hall of Fame is silly.
Dude, Hall of Fame doesn't mean shit anymore. It's just like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, it's political. Yeah, it's all
It's fucking
political.
horse shit.
It doesn't mean any merit, really. I don't believe.
No, there's no merit. There's no distinguishment to it anymore. I mean, it's just not. You're getting players that, have not even barely been retired. All right, so let me get y'all's opinion on this. But this will be the last thing we talk about. Coach of the Year. Miles, who do you call for Coach of the Year?
That's tough. I would say, I mean, on results of, I don't know, man. I'm not smart enough to understand who the coach of the year should be, I don't think. But I really like the direction that Cincinnati has taken. I feel like that I'm excited for Cincinnati. I feel like within 2 years' time, they look like a different football team. I'll say that much.
Yeah. Mike, what about you?
Man, Coach of the Year is such a subjective thing. I think if I was to really avoid being a homer, I wouldn't say Vrabel. But I do think it's Vrabel for the fact that they've had so many players that they haven't had available, and they've maintained well enough to get to the end and potentially get the number one seed. I think if they beat Houston, I think he should win it. I don't think that he will. I think they're probably going to give Coach of the Year. Man, I don't know. I almost want to say LaFleur because I think he will get it, but I don't.
That would
I
be
wouldn't
my
vote
second.
for him if I. Yeah,
That'd be my second guess, but no, he's not my favorite either. It's just a tough question, man, because I don't know if you're saying like who's turned around the team the most or who's done the best this season. I guess because I feel like Cincinnati.
Who's done the best for their team?
this season?
Whether
Yeah.
they turn them around or not, but who has done the best for their team, given all the adversity? I mean, I don't give a fuck if I'm biased or not, dude. How can Vrabel not get it with everything that the only argument I can see for him not getting Coach of the Year is he lost against the Jets. He lost against Houston. Those two losses right there would be the only thing that I can see keeping him from getting it. Because he didn't win the games that he's supposed to win.
Right.
The only thing I
But
can
dude,
see-
that team was decimated by injuries, and he in this, he's in line to get the number one seed without his number one player. with a mediocre offensive line, with a mediocre quarterback.
Yeah.
Now
These are all good points.
Their defense is playing on fire the past few weeks. They just have been. They've been playing really good ever since Derrick Henry really went out. But I don't know. Except for that Houston game, obviously. But I can't think of anybody else really.
I think Zach Horse is a dark or Zach Taylor as a dark horse, the Bengals coach.
Yeah,
they had a very unlikely rise.
He should be second or first. And I think the guy in Philadelphia deserves some credit for that turnaround, and Flores in Miami deserves a lot of credit. Yes, they beat bad teams, but winning 7 games in a row in the NFL is not easy.
What about Bill Belichick?
Fuck your mouth.
Belichick. Well, I know no one wants to give Billy B any credit, but with that roster, and Belichick should be in the top 3.
I mean, he's got a rookie quarterback. He's going to the playoffs.
They were terrible last year.
They were horrible. They were wretched last year.
I'll make one more note on my pick there. I've watched Joe Burrow all year, and the coach didn't know what to do with him at first. The guy was throwing 22 balls, 25 balls a game. And they have a running game, yes. But as the season has progressed, I think that coaching staff has figured out how to make that team do what they're supposed to do. And I'm scared for the AFC. I think that they're contenders.
Right. You think they're contenders right now?
Yes. And I think that their coaching staff saw something at the front of the season, lost it, and found it back towards the last half of the season. And now they understand how to use the team that they're working with. I feel like they're on a clear path. I don't feel like they look confused like a Browns or a whoever else. I feel like they look very much like they understand what they're out to do.
Honestly, I've not watched Cincinnati enough this year to really give an honest opinion on that. So I'll just.
But their defense is, I've made fun of Mike over the season for using their defense. I mean, but then again, they've shown a lot of really here in the past 4 weeks. I mean, their defense has done really well.
Right.
It's done well enough to help win them games, even though he throws 500 yards and 15 touchdowns each game.
Now, the Bengals, it's weird because if there was a coordinator of the year, I would not give it to their offensive coordinator. Their offensive play calling is weird in Cincinnati. It's bizarre. Miles was making a really good point. They had no clue what to do with their weapons early in the year. And sometimes it still looks that way in certain instances of the game. But Zach Taylor himself, for as bad as that defense has been at times and being able to rally a Bengals team that was dead in the water last year, he definitely deserves a lot of credit.
Dead in the water for the past 20 years.
Well, really, since Boomer Esiason retired.
Well, yes, and to come in and take that role just 2 years later after it was occupied by the same loser for 13 years?
Yeah,
that literally didn't win a championship game, and here I think they're going to the playoffs at least.
They didn't even win a wild card game under.
I don't even think. Did they even go to the playoffs?
Well, they made the playoffs a couple times, so they
made the playoffs.
They were actually,
I think, 5 seasons in a row, and they never won one.
They really should have probably won that playoff game in 2015. Vontaze Burfict just happens to be an idiot.
Well, that's maybe more show and no go. They may get into the playoffs and flop, but they've impressed me thus far.
Well, I guess we'll talk about it next week, and we'll figure out who's going to the playoffs, and we'll have more to talk about then.
Playoff preview episode next week. Woo!
There you go. Well, guys, y'all have a good night. I'm getting out of here.
All right.
Yeah.
See y'all next week.
See you guys.